force people into voting for Joe Biden by saying Donald Trump will be worse and calling it a day. The argument is just not hitting. There are a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I think people are so fatigued of feeling like they're having to pick the lesser of two evils, but also I don't think people think Joe Biden is the lesser of two evils. You gotta remember, it's not like people were super excited to vote for Joe Biden in the first place. Who voted for Biden were basically like, I mean, we don't want Trump. Who else you got? Biden, I guess. And Biden's big promise, in my opinion, right, what people thought Biden was going to do was forgive student loans for everybody. Yes, I understand the Supreme Court got involved and struck down student loan forgiveness for everybody across the board. And yet still, a lot of people through programs that the Biden administration has enacted still had their student loans canceled. I'm not one of them. My student loans have not been canceled, but I already told y'all, it's above me now. My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ will pay those. So even if you get past that frustration, if you're talking to somebody and they bring up the student loan forgiveness, say you can convince them that that wasn't Joe Biden's fault, right? Say you move past that and you get into how Joe Biden has reacted to Israel and Palestine. And I think people think you're downplaying how upset people are regarding Joe Biden's reactions to Israel and Palestine. Realistically, Joe Biden was never going to turn his back on Israel. America has shown you throughout history, right, that this country will not turn its back on its ally, Israel. Where that might have worked in the past, the tide is changing and people don't feel like that anymore.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about old Joe Biden, who I now have a new nickname for, okay? My new nickname for Joe Biden is Sackchinian Joe, right? Because this picture right here always gets me, okay, of whatever the hell is going on with Joe Biden's chin, okay? It's parting like the Red Sea, okay? I mean, I have no idea what's going on with Sackchinian, but I do know that in terms of how people are feeling about Sackchinian Joe, not too good, okay? As his approval rating is continuing to slip, okay? His overall approval rating is now at 37%. Now, this comes as I've talked about this before. The left is turning their backs on Joe Biden because they don't like his response to the Israel/Palestine situation, okay? They don't like it. So now a lot of these young college students who, you know, we see are clearly very passionate about this issue, they're coming out and declaring, we're not voting for Joe, right? We didn't even want to vote for you in the first place. The only reason we voted for you is because we have a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome. So therefore, we're going to vote for you, not because we like you, but simply because we hate Trump. Now, again, fast forward 2 to 3 years into Biden's presidency, what people are saying, the obvious reality, considering what's going on in the world, what's going on at the border, what's going on with the economy, what's going on with crime. The Biden administration, objectively speaking, has been a disaster, okay? There's no real reason to vote for him, okay? The narrative that Orange Man bad was the biggest problem with America, and you just had to remove him from office and everything would be rainbow and roses because the adults are back in charge, turned out to be a massive lie that has cost this country dearly, okay? And again, that is showing up in the polls as Trump, again, is leading regularly in national polls and also in swing state polls as well, too.
Some key swing states, a morning consult Bloomberg poll of the top 7 swing states, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, show Trump leading Biden in 5 of them, 5 out of 7, while tied with Biden in Michigan at 44% and trailing only in Nevada by 3%.
Yeah, not looking good for Biden, right? His approval rating is dropping. The national polls are showing Trump. His lead is expanding, okay? The outlier polls are actually now becoming the norm, right? The polls that, you know, we say, oh, it's an outlier. Trump is up 3 or 4 points. Nah, that's actually becoming the norm now. And even in the swing state polls, Trump is starting to dominate across the board. If the election was held today, it's starting to look more and more likely that Trump would win in a landslide victory. Now, I know that's hard for some people to believe.
And you don't think Donald Trump can beat Joe Biden?
I don't. I mean, I think that I think that.
Would you endorse him if he is the nominee?
Well, I've already said that I signed the pledge. I'm supporting the Republican nominee.
Do you think it's real?
Well, for me, it is. I mean,
but I really do think that there's no logical reason or rational reason why anybody would want to vote for Joe Biden. There is no reason to vote for him in 2024, okay? The guy is decrepit. He's falling apart, and that's what's happening to the country as well, too. People living in the country experience that, and I just don't think they have any motivation to go to the polls. Orange man bad is not going to be good enough in 2024. It's just not going to be, okay? So with that being said, again, Democrats know that the writing is on the wall. At least some of them are willing to admit that out loud. So much so that you have some of them who are freaking out and running for president because of their Trump derangement syndrome. People like Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, even though he cannot be president of the United States, he's running anyways based off some cockamamie plan to try to get other people like Gavin Newsom or Gretchen Whitmer or Josh Shapiro, other Democrats, to jump in the race to take down Joe Biden, which, again, clearly is not going to work. He's jumping in the Democrat primary to take down Biden. And now you have a new guy, okay, who is jumping into the race, an actual Democrat who could cause Joe Biden some problems. He is now jumping into the race and challenging Joe Biden for president. And I want to talk about it, but before we get into it, I want to tell you guys how to protect yourself online, and that is why the sponsor of this video is Virtual Shield. Caesars Entertainment has confirmed that the social security numbers linked to the rewards players were stolen in a recent Las Vegas cyber attack. If hackers have those social security numbers, then that will put the banking and financial life of those players at a major risk. Credit cards and loans could be taken out in their names, and money may be removed from their bank accounts. Unfortunately, data breaches involving social security numbers, like this one, are no longer uncommon. This is why myself, along with tens of thousands of others, protect ourselves online with Virtual Shield. Virtual Shield gives me security with an all-in-one privacy suite that includes an industry-leading VPN that atomizes my IP address to help avoid ISP or government spying, while also preventing hackers and snoopers from seeing my online activities. Plus, I get identity theft protection, internet data removal, and much more that all work together to protect my social security number. I highly recommend Virtual Shield because you can get 60 days free right now. This means that you'll get unlimited access to the Virtual Shield VPN with 67% off lifetime discount with 60 days across unlimited devices, plus access to Virtual Shield's 24/7 VPN support with 60 days across an unlimited number of devices, and Virtual Shield 24/7 customer support so that you can ask questions if you need any help. Similar security suites go for over $400, but this one, Virtual Shield VPN, is available for 60 days free when you go to virtualshield.com/deals/BCP.
A Minnesota congressman is planning to announce his candidacy for the presidency later today.
We've got some challenges, that's for sure. We're going to repair this economy, and we are going to repair America as long as we do it together.
So after much speculation, Dean Phillips is expected to file the official paperwork today. Pauline Lee live this morning for us with all of the details. Hi, Pauline.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, we've told you this all week long. Phillips, who represents Minnesota's 3rd District, expected to make his official announcement later today. It'll be in New Hampshire in front of the state capitol building in Concord. Now, this comes as analytics company Ad Impacts reports that Phillips has already reserved $53,000 worth of ad time so far. Those ads beginning today in New Hampshire. So let's take a closer look at the race here. The New Hampshire primary now set tentatively for the late January, sometime in that time frame. We're told that we told you that all week long experts believe that he's got a long shot in beating President Joe Biden, but Phillips has cited polls showing that many Americans feel that President Biden is just too old to run for another term. Here's what he told CBS Mornings.
I think President Biden has done a spectacular job for our country, but it's not about the past. This is an election about the future. I will not sit still. I will not be quiet in the face of numbers that are so clearly saying that we're going to be facing an emergency next November.
Now, Phillips' full exclusive interview with CBS Morning's Robert Costa is expected to air sometime later this morning.
Yeah, so you've seen that, you heard that. Okay, another Democrat with a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome, like Cenk Uygur of TYT, jumping into the race simply to try to stop Trump from winning, which, again, he said in that interview there, well, you know, hey, it looks like Biden's going to lose in 2024. However, I think Biden's done a great job, right? He also said that as well, too, which, again, it's just so funny. It's like, well, if you think Biden did such a great job, or he's doing such a great job, why are you running? And he says, well, I think Biden's too old. Okay, well, again, I would tell this guy, I would give him the advice, if he actually wants to beat Biden, he needs to stop lying to the American people, talk about how great of a job Biden has done, because Biden has not done a great job, okay? So with that being said, what do I think about this, okay? I think that this guy has a long shot. However, there is a scenario that I want to talk about that could actually result in this guy actually having a chance to beat Biden. And why do I say that? Because unlike Cenk, this guy is an actual establishment Democrat who probably can raise money and get some momentum because, again, he's an actual real Democrat in Congress, not a far left woke progressive with a failing YouTube channel. No, he's actually a real Democrat. He may get some real momentum to be able to beat Joe Biden because I think that this guy has an outside chance of actually winning New Hampshire because Joe Biden has essentially taken his name off the ballot in New Hampshire, or he's not putting his name on the ballot in the New Hampshire primaries due to wokeness. Take a look.
Tonight, 10 major candidates are on the ballot for New Hampshire's first-in-the-nation primary. You see them here. Candidates have until the end of the day on Friday to file their paperwork. And just within the last hour, News 9 was first to report that the Biden campaign has informed the New Hampshire Democratic Party it will not put the president's name on the primary ballot. It's a move that is not unexpected, but is still a major development in the ongoing fight over first-in-the-nation status. We are still waiting for an answer on one of the biggest questions here. When will the primary be? WMUR's Ross Ketchke is live in Manchester. And Ross, you just spoke with the Secretary of State about the upcoming primary.
Yeah, Monica, no date to circle on the calendar just yet, but New Hampshire Secretary of State David Scanlon says come the filing deadline on Friday, it should be a little bit easier to pinpoint exactly when we can expect that primary to be. He says he's also keeping an eye on a few other states to see exactly when their primaries will be. Of course, the Granite State has a law. We have to go first at least 7 days before any other primary or similar contest. All this comes as the Democratic National Committee decided to change its own calendar, putting South Carolina in the leadoff spot. Scanlon, though, is adamant that New Hampshire has both a right and a legal obligation to go first. He says he expects even more challenges like this to the first-in-the-nation primary status come 2028, when both major parties may be mounting contested primaries. He says whatever happens, though, the Granite State will not budge.
I think they'll continue to pose challenges until they get tired and give up. We won't.
And Scanlon also says New Hampshire continues to be a great choice for the first-in-the-nation primary, more so almost than anywhere else in the country. He cites our relatively small size and media market, as well as high voter turnout rates, and a relatively low barrier for candidates being able to get their name on that first-in-the-nation primary ballot. Live in New Hampshire, Ross Ketchke, WMUR, News 9.
Yeah, so you're seeing that, you heard that. Okay, now what is happening here? What's going on? So Biden is not going to be on the ballot in New Hampshire because he's listening to his woke advisors who are trying to force, along with the Democrat National Committee that is, they're trying to force New Hampshire to stop being the first primary state, okay? And the reason why is because they want a state like South Carolina who has a larger black population or a more diverse population, aka their state is less white than states like Iowa and New Hampshire. They want South Carolina to go first. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important for a couple of reasons. One, states like Iowa and New Hampshire are important, traditionally speaking, and they went first, traditionally speaking, and it is important for candidates to win those states because the idea is that if you win the first 2 states, now you have momentum, right? You become the de facto front runner, and in the following states, people are going to tend to kind of vote in line with what, Iowa and New Hampshire have done. Okay, that's the idea. Again, Democrats want to change that because those states are too white. Okay, Iowa's too white and too Christian, right? And New Hampshire's just too white. So they want South Carolina to go first because, again, South Carolina has a more diverse population. So they're trying to force New Hampshire to change their own law by removing Joe Biden or not allowing Joe Biden to be on the New Hampshire ballot. Now, again, you can clearly see how this could backfire because now if you want to vote for Joe Biden in the Democrat primary, you're going to have to write in Joe Biden, which is a disadvantage versus having to just bubble Joe Biden or Joe Biden's name being on the ballot, right? So now with Dean Phillips in the race, he's expected to file to be on the ballot in New Hampshire. So with that being said, when voters go to vote in the Democrat primary, Joe Biden's name's not going to be on the ballot, and this guy's name will be on the ballot, okay, which will give him a significant advantage. So you can have a situation where this guy actually wins the New Hampshire primary, and that could be the momentum that he needs to raise more money and to launch more ads in some of these states that are going to be a lot tougher to win. And you could see him kind of building some momentum from there. But again, that's not going to happen if his whole pitch is that, well, everything is great under Biden. He's just too old, right? No. That's not going to work, buddy, right? If I was this man's advisor, I'd be like, things are not going great, right? Joe Biden and his policies have ruined the country. He's too far left. I'm a centrist Democrat, right? I would straight up run as a centrist Democrat, damn near Republican. I would basically run on Republican policies and be a Democrat if I was this guy, okay? If I was actually a consultant for his campaign, that's what I would tell him. I would run the most right-leaning campaign that you can, okay, against Biden. Don't come out here and say what he was doing was great because it's not, and people just are not buying into that. That's part of the reason why the guy's approval rating is so low. When you come out here and you say that, well, Biden's policies are great and he's done a great job, despite his low approval rating, right? What you're saying is that, well, you're co-signing his policies. The only difference between you and Biden is that you're younger than Biden, not because you have any different policies than Biden, right? So again, I'm just saying, right? Maybe I shouldn't be trying to help the guy because, if the Democrats had a different candidate, that would probably give him a better chance of winning. But regardless, I'm just saying that Joe Biden could actually be in trouble, okay? Again, it's a long shot, but it's possible, okay? This guy's not Gavin Newsom. He's not Gretchen Whitmer. He doesn't have that type of name recognition. But I'm just saying, if he runs the right type of campaign, if he ends up stealing New Hampshire from Joe Biden, Biden can be in trouble. I'm just saying. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.